Hello everybody. For today's lesson, we're going to begin the beginning steps of creating a PowerPoint, which will then, after the PowerPoint's complete, take and upload our PowerPoint to Slide Rocket, and then we can take our Slide Rocket, customize it a little bit exactly how we want it, and then put it into our Weebly, and it looks really nice when it's finished. But we need to do the groundwork first. And so what we're going to do is we are going to create a PowerPoint over figurative language. Now I have a couple different websites up here. I think this one's called Mr. Don. And here's your dictionary. For this one, I'm going to kind of focus on this one here, and I'll provide the link to this website, the sturgeon.k12 from Missouri.us. And what we're looking at is things in the English language that we typically struggle with on the OAA test. And so we're going to kind of create this PowerPoint to not only help you as you create it, but as other people can go to your Weebly and learn from it. And that's kind of our goal, is to provide a resource for other people. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up Microsoft PowerPoint. Now, I'm using a Mac computer, so it's going to look a little bit different if you're on the PC. But the purpose is the same. So the first thing I would like you to do is to create a title slide and call it figurative language and put your name here. Since this is your work and you're going to be creating something for other people to learn from, there's no reason you shouldn't get credit for it or people know that you created this. So then we're going to add a new slide. So if you go up to Insert a New Slide, we're going to do that right here. And I'd like you to go ahead and title this one a Simile. And at first, on this slide, we're going to go ahead and put definition. Now you don't necessarily need to write the word definition. What I would like you to do though is find the definition of simile. Now for this I don't really care if you copy and paste it. But while you're copying and paste it, I do want you to pay attention to what it is, read it. So what I've done here is I've pasted the definition for what a simile is. And basically it's when I compare two different things using two key critical words, like or as. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight those words, make them bold and italicized to really make them stand out. And then I'm going to add another slide. So I'm going to go back to Insert, New Slide. I'm going to go ahead and label it Similes, and I'm going to give an example here. Now, here I'm comparing two different things. I'm comparing her face and the sun, and I'm using the word like. So because I'm using the word like, I've created a simile. So I'm going to go ahead, bold that, italicize that. Now what I want to do is I want to go find a picture of a face, a girl's face, and a picture of the sun. And you're going to see what we're going to do with that. Now there's two things we can do. We can, once we find a picture of a face, we can either right click on it, go save image as, save it in a folder, and then upload it to our PowerPoint. Or, as we had a student suggestion from Braden Lehman, we can take this picture and drag it to our desktop. Put it down on our desktop, go back to our PowerPoint, and drag it to our PowerPoint. That might be a little bit simpler. The only thing we can't do, we found that it doesn't work with some of our computer and the security on them, is to drag a picture from Google Images straight to our PowerPoint. It just won't work. We can't drag it straight from here to here. We have to use the intermediate desktop. Alright, so now what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and resize this picture. And if you're saying like, how did you get those circles up here? If I just click on here one time, I'm now going to be able to paste that up here, widen it just a bit. And now we want this to appear, but maybe not right away. So I'm going to go ahead and do custom animation. So we're going to look for custom animation, and I need to select this image, and I'm going to add an effect. Basically, I'm going to make this picture appear. So I'm going to tell it to go ahead and let's see what we can do here. Let's dissolve in. Okay. And now let's find one for the sun. Hey, there we go. That's a good looking picture there. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to drag this to my desktop. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint, and I'm now going to add this here. Now we could also do the same thing if we were to go over here and right click and go save image as, and then once we got to our PowerPoint, if we went to insert a picture. Okay, but instead I just went here to the desktop, and once I moved it from the desktop to the PowerPoint. Now I'm going to resize this. I'm going to click on it one time. I want to cover that word sun up. I'm going to make sure it's selected, so I've got the box and the circles and the squares around it so I can resize it. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go add an effect. Fly in. Alright, now let's take a quick look at what our PowerPoint looks like so far. Figurative language. We have simile. We have the definition. Her face shines like the sun. Face, sun. Alright, so we're well on our way. Now there's plenty more that we want to do, but for right now, what I would like you to do today is to create a simile, find a picture for the two different things you're comparing. In this case, it's a picture of a person, a picture of a sun. Now you can create, and I hope you do create, your own simile. You do not have to use my example. My example is just for demonstration, to demonstrate what a simile is. You can create a simile of anything. You're comparing two different things and use the word like or as. If you complete this, I would like you to go on to metaphors, personification, alliteration, onomatopoeia, hyperbole, and cliches. Follow the same procedure where the first thing you do is find the definition of what is a cliché, and then once you find the definition, I would like you to find an example. Now, since I'm doing this, and you can see it's 2:03 in the morning, my definition, or I'll do a quick one example here of a cliché. Okay, here's a cliché. A cliché is an expression that has been used so often that it's become trite and sometimes boring. And whenever you're writing a formal paper, you do not want to use a cliché. But if you're writing a story, creating something on your own, clichés are perfectly acceptable. Alright, so cliché, let's go ahead and create that definition. I'm going to click down outside of my text box to make sure it pastes. Okay, so here's my definition of a cliché. And now I need an example. Alright, so one cliché about being tired is it's tired and I'm getting late. It's kind of when you reverse the words, and it's just a cliché. And so, let's see if we can paste that right there. It's tired and I'm getting late. So it's a cliché, it's overused. You would not use this in any kind of formal writing that you're going to turn into a teacher, but you hear it a lot. Some other examples of clichés would be, I'm as hungry as a horse. That would also be hyperbole. Anything that's said over and over and over again. So you may have not heard it, but if it's common, it doesn't really have that full meaning. And then we're going to do the same thing. Find an image, maybe of something that's tired or old looking, and then maybe a clock past midnight in this case. Here it's 2:11. So I want you to go ahead and work on these figurative language, creating a title slide. Start with something simile. Simile is pretty easy. You're comparing two things, like or as. Go ahead and create your own. And then, once you do, find an image of those two things, and then go ahead up into the slideshow, custom animation, and tell it to do something. So in this case, we had it appear, and then we had our sun rise up and come in. And then after you've done that, so you've created 1, 2, 3 slides so far, go ahead to metaphors. Now metaphors are going to be the same thing. You're going to come up with a definition. Don't be afraid to go and look, copy and paste, but you must read it. And then after you find the metaphor, come up with an example. Find the example, find the images, go ahead and add custom animation. You've created that, you're at 5 slides. Now you're going to do personification. Personification is when you make something that's not alive have human characteristics. A real quick one that I always learned was the hills are alive with the sound of music. Well, hills aren't alive, and there's no sound of music from hills, but we are using personification to make it sound like they're alive. Once you've given us a definition, go ahead and create an example for that. Go ahead and find an image, maybe of the hills, and then something like they're singing or musical notes. Alliteration, onomatopoeia, hyperbole, this is an exaggeration, and then cliches. Okay, I don't think you'll finish all of this in today, but this is the project that we are going to begin working on next. Hope this video helps, and I know it's kind of long, but we're just putting it all in one video, so enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you when I return.